Have you started? I can't see a red light or anything.
Yes.
Okay. I'm here with, CloudBlog is here with Denis Pombriant, world-class analyst who's been covering Oracle OpenWorld for many years. And he's here in San Francisco, a beautiful day. And we're going to talk about some of the announcements that Denis has just covered. So Denis.
Hey John.
How are you?
Excellent.
Good to see you.
Yes.
You're looking very well.
Thank you.
Oracle OpenWorld has been good for you so far?
I think so. I've seen a lot of really cool and interesting new technologies and new technology directions.
What did you just come from just now?
Mark Benioff's keynote about Cloud 2 and Chatter.
And can you translate what Cloud 2 is to the listeners and readers of CloudBlog?
Well, Cloud 2 is kind of the, I would, in my view, Cloud 2 is kind of the socialization of cloud computing, bringing together a number of disparate threads that organizations are now being able to use productively, whereas before social technology was something that you used in your personal life. Cloud 2 is now giving organizations the ability to harness the power of social community to have business results.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying the personal life is actually entering into the enterprise space? It's not a giant monolithic entity anymore?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I would say that the enterprise is taking on technologies that, from a grassroots perspective, started in personal lives, and organizations have now been able to find ways to monetize that technology in the way it connects people.
Mm-hmm. Is it risky for enterprise to do this or not to do this?
Well, like everything that is sort of a tool, I think there's risk in both directions, right? There's risk in not doing it well, and there's risk in overdoing it, I suppose you could say. So it's very important to I think, assess the technology and its capabilities and try to assess your own needs and match the two. Not simply turn something on and let people go wild with it, because who knows what the results would be in that case.
Do you have any cases of that going on in the past? People turning on technology wildly and it failing wildly?
Well, I think just about every technology you can think of goes through a sort of a wild adoption process before it sort of settles down, and people are able to use it and make smart, intelligent choices with it. Mm-hmm. I would have to do some thinking to come up with a good example, but certainly there are examples, and I know I've written about them before. I'm just tongue-tied at the moment.
Right. Besides Cloud 2, at the keynote you just went to, what else was discussed?
At OpenWorld?
Yeah, well, at the keynote at Mark Benioff's keynote.
Well, you know, one of the things that is sort of tangential but very important is the whole idea of mobility and the importance of mobile devices and making people, or giving people, the ability to work productively with mobile devices wherever they are. And I think over time that's going to be hugely important, because I see more people spending more time out of the office, more people having to find ways to be more efficient with for example, how they consume transportation. As transportation costs go up, I think we'll see more people out of the office more often. They're going to need good technology support to make them or to enable them to be continuously productive when they're not in the office. So I think I've seen a lot of ideas in mobility, a lot of new mobile devices, Chatter supporting those mobile devices, so that even when you're out of the office, you're still in the mainstream of the thinking and the acting and the doing.
Do you think that mobile is underplayed by some of the enterprise vendors, or is it that it's underplayed on purpose because they don't talk about it as much because they don't have the technology? It just doesn't seem like a lot of mobile announcements came out of OpenWorld from what I've read, but perhaps I'm wrong on that.
Well, there definitely were some, but I think the bigger question, the answer to your bigger question is it underplayed or overplayed? Mobile's hard to do. It's hard to develop software that can run on a 3-inch screen as well as it can run on the biggest Macintosh. It's hard to format. It's hard to deal with all of the different competing operating systems on those devices. So it's a manageable task, but it takes time and investment to do it well.
Would any company have an advantage over another one? A cloud computing company have an advantage with mobile, or is it a zero-sum game as far as just development mobile applications?
Really depends what you mean by a cloud computing company. For example, if your definition of cloud is primarily infrastructure and you're simply running a lot of instances of the same software on a lot of virtual machines in a data center somewhere, then you're fundamentally not taking advantage of some of and leveraging some of the key aspects of mobility. And I think one of the things that makes mobility work really well for a company is when they embrace the multi-tenant architecture and enable themselves to have great scalability with the applications that they use, and in your case, for example, give customers the ability to mix and match platforms that they work with.
That's great. That's a good insight. Any other takeaways from the entire conference as a whole?
Well, interestingly, I think the introduction of Exadata or 2 years ago now, and the introduction of Exalogic are actually fairly important. They bring down the cost.
Are they important to Oracle, or are they important to the consumer?
Well, it remains to be seen. Certainly they're important to Oracle. I think they will be important to the consumer because they do provide a way to lower the cost of computing. Right now, with a hardware-centric solution, the benefits are all coming from lowering the hardware costs without doing anything to change the economics and dynamics of the cost of the software. But to the consumer, if it's a hardware-software package and they see a lower price, they're not probably going to ask where the lower price came from, although it becomes important long-term that software keep up with hardware, descending the price curve.
I think I think you might be right on that. But what's your takeaway, or how do you reconcile the Exalogic box with the cloud in a box? Is cloud in a box? What is that? Is that a pipe dream? I mean, seriously.
Well, I'm not really a good person to ask. I'm not an advocate of infrastructure as a service, so I don't think I can give you a definition of cloud in the box. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Do you wind it up?
Sort of like an organ grinder.
But I think it's a jack in the box.
Jack in the box.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. But if I could change subjects just really briefly, one of the other things that I think is a key takeaway from OpenWorld is the emphasis that I see Oracle making on sales for the last couple of years.
And can you define sales? Is it sales, their sales, or is it the sales force automation?
It's Salesforce automation and some of the technologies that they're delivering or promising in the area of, say, territory planning or white space analysis, things like that. It signals to me a fundamental change in the economy. For the last couple of years, we've seen a great emphasis on service and support systems. It was a good idea. It was a necessary thing. But in a down economy, I think you tend to see more emphasis on service and support and maintaining the customers that you have. As the economy recovers, we become more interested in making net new sales, net new customers. And I see the renewed emphasis on selling as maybe an early indicator of an economic upturn.
That's great. That's good. I guess
That can't be bad for anybody.
No, the recession apparently ended a year ago, but I mean, I think
Somebody should have
very
told
few
us.
people are feeling that. So it's good to see that technology is kind of showing that maybe it really is. We are emerging into a better economy now.
I hope so. I hope so. And there's a whole sustainability angle that we could talk about, but I suspect we're running out of time. Sounds like they're coming to get me. Here goes.
Yeah. San Francisco engine number 9 went by.
Very good.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it.
Oh, it was a pleasure, John. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Okay.